And thank you for your time this evening. We are from Premium Consultancy and we are here today to talk to you about Baldwin.
Today we have Nicola, a strategy consultant, that is going to begin with our presentation by discussing the story, strategy, mistakes, and ethical considerations. Our management analysis Maha is going to discuss about the executive shakeup, providing us with some insight on the results and what improvement or decline Baldwin had made after that. She will also brief us on whether strategy adjustments were made during this time. Lastly, we will have our reporting analyst, Haley, who will cover off the company's competition in the market along with its future potential, taking a look at what we would do if our consultancy took over this business. And we totally look at a 3-year strategy discussing product automation and quality management.
To your left is a timeline of the Baldwin Company story. As you can see, during the first 3 years of independent operation, Baldwin invested heavily in automation with particular focus on their traditional and low-end products. During their 4th year of operation, their focus on production automation and lack of investment in human resources led to a loss of over 700 employees and a significant workforce strike. At the time, preparations were made to phase out Bold, Bid and Buddy from the market, creating a niche focus on traditional and low-end products, bread and baker. Production capacity was sold as the plant equipment would no longer be required to produce these products. Some investment was made with the aim of reducing research and development cycle time, though the amount of $1.5 million was negligible in comparison to industry standards. As the time came to officially phase out Bold, Bid and Buddy, Baldwin backtracked and made the last-minute decision to keep producing Bid after all, resulting in a rapid need to repurchase production capacity. This required a significant outlay and one that could have been avoided with better planning. Following the executive shake-up, investments started to be made into human resources, with staff wages and training being significantly increased. After 8 years of independent operation, Baldwin currently has a stock price of $36.02 and has made a cumulative loss of over $3.8 million. Baldwin's strategy has been somewhat inconsistent throughout their 8 years of independent operation. While they have held focus on their low-end and traditional products, baker and bread, their inconsistency with human resources and automation investment has shown a lack of strategic long-term planning. An excellent example of this is their decisions regarding their product Bid. Bid was initially going to be phased out with Buddy and Bold, but in a snap decision it was kept in production. This last-minute turnaround shows a lack of long-term production and sales strategies, resulting in an increased unnecessary expenditure. As previously discussed, Baldwin has lacked a consistent strategy over their 8 years of independent operation. This led to 2 main mistakes that cost the company in both time and financial resources. The first mistake they made was the move to phase out Bid, followed by a last-minute decision to continue with the product. This decision led to the sale and subsequent repurchase of production capacity, leaving Baldwin with a large unnecessary bill. Their other mistake was more long-term. Over the first 5 years of operation, Baldwin did not value their human resources and instead invested heavily in automation. Whilst this strategy did have the benefits of reducing the workforce complement required and therefore reducing some costs, it did lead to a large strike that halted production for 25 days and has led to a number of ethical dilemmas. As mentioned previously, the value Baldwin placed on human resources over their first 5 years of independent operation was at a level that could certainly be considered unethical, particularly in today's workplace climate that values investment in the recruitment and training processes, as well as an organisation's commitment to mental health and fitness. These points have been discussed in detail by Samani and Singh from York University. One of the organisation's most important stakeholders is the staff who work there. These people have a direct impact on every aspect of the organisation and should be highly valued in any business that wants to be successful. Additionally, Baldwin had the opportunity to invest in a number of initiatives that could have provided a large ethical benefit. These initiatives could have impacted their environmental sustainability, brand image, and resource efficiency. Unfortunately, Baldwin did not invest in any of these opportunities, and the decision not to do so could also be considered unethical and lacking in the corporate social responsibility that is expected from today's organisations.
Now, when deciding whether to invest in a company, I think one of the first things that we should look at, the first aspect to judge, is how the individuals within a business come together to work. We've seen a lot of video business interviews about this, a lot of sources, articles all over the internet about teamwork and how important that is for a business. So I think if you are willing, or if you are looking to invest, this is where you should be looking at how Baldwin has come together as a team to put out decisions. Now, one of the biggest challenges when running a business is the executive shakeup. When you have individuals that are leaving the business and then individuals that are coming in, and how you are able to manage that to deliver results. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys graphs that are going to show you the journey that Baldwin has seen over the past 8 years, and you will see that their results have improved after the executive shakeup. There has been overall improvement, and what that shows is their ability to really work together, learn from their past mistakes, learn from their past experience, and be able to come together, bring their insights, and deliver the results that they need, which I think is a great indicator of the kind of company that it is, and it's a very positive indicator of their standards. So moving on to graphs, I'm starting with the return on equity and return on sales graph. You'll notice that the graphs are quite similar in nature, in that the couple of years in the middle, around the shake-up period, which is after 2023, there's a bit of a downfall for the company. And I think that's because they were adjusting to the new member, maybe the new insights, trying out different strategies that might not have worked. And so that probably caused a bit of a decrease in performance. But straight after, you will notice that they have been able to learn from their mistakes and experiences and really developed their strategies a bit more to increase their performance. Here we have the assets, so the asset turnover and the return on assets, and they're in a line graph, just so you can see a little bit of a different visual representation. And again, you'll notice around the shake-up there is a bit of a decrease, but straight after the shake-up they're able to go straight back up and increase their performance by a huge margin. So coming to market capital, again, same trend for this graph. There is a bit of a downfall in those 3 years, the years before the shake-up and the year after, but a very huge increase in performance straight after the shake-up, with them ending their market capital on just under 90 million, which is actually more than what they started off with in 2019, which is a great improvement. At times, when a company is thinking of their long-term benefit instead of their short-term benefit, and generally when they're changing strategies, sometimes there can be a decrease in certain aspects and certain measures. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that there is a decrease in performance overall. And that is exactly the case with Baldwin, with their cumulative profits. Now, cumulative profits after the shakeup are decreasing, while every other aspect, such as market capital and returns that we just mentioned, they are increasing afterwards. Now, this is because Baldwin has managed to probably change their strategy. There's been a bit of a pricing strategy change throughout the years as well, which quite possibly caused this decrease in profits. Other than that, I think what Baldwin has done is the decisions that they had made during those years were not just for those specific years, but for the results to come in the long term, which I think is quite important for any business, to look at the long-term benefit instead of the short term. So moving on to strategy adjustments. So before the shakeup, Baldwin's strategies were pretty inconsistent, as Nicola mentioned, and they were putting a lot of importance to traditional and low end, which was Baker and Bead. There was a huge emphasis on automation and not so much in the employee department and their wages and everything, which was one of the biggest differences after the shakeup. There was a lot more focus on HR, and what that did was that really impacted their results in a more positive sense. So I think that was one of the better decisions that Baldwin made that really impacted their performance, was putting more significance to HR, putting in some numbers for TQM as well. And then another thing that they did after their shake-up was eliminating Bold and Buddy. So these were just some of the strategy changes that the company made before and after the shake-up.
The competitive comparison due to potential. We have done a comparator analysis by getting all the financial stats from the last 8 years of all the companies and making them into averages to compare against each other. In the graph, it shows the worst and the best. Unfortunately, Baldwin has come in as the worst in orange, Aries the blue, and Verisk is the green. They are the top 2 best companies overall. The conclusion drawn to why Baldwin has performed so poorly against its competitors is lack of investment in its TQMs. The competitors of Baldwin have spent up to $6 million, where Baldwin only spent $1.5 million in 2024 and $2 million in 2026 across the 8 years. They lack in products. Their competitors have up to 8 products, whereas Baldwin only has 3, and none of them are leading in their market. We recommend taking some advice from the article New Path to Value and focusing on the biggest and highest opportunities, such as their current product, Bead, which is doing quite well at number 2 on its market. Keeping existing capabilities while adding new ones. Adding new products and also investing more in their TQMs would help reduce the material costs and production. Lastly, using an information agenda to plan for their future, putting a long-term strategy in place over 3 years, which we'll discuss in the next slide, will be very beneficial. And is to define and stick to a long-term strategy. We recommend the broad cost leader strategy. This has products in all segments and aims for low material and production costs. Baldwin can do this by investing in those TQMs to reduce those costs. They also need to adjust the current products to be able to broaden them out across the different segments. They also need to aim for a positive financial year with no emergency loan and no negative stats. So therefore, in year 2, they can invest in new products to reach the different segments even more, invest in automations to keep the labor costs down, like the broad cost leader strategy aims for, and they need to continue to invest in their TQMs and aim for the top 2 in each of their segments. Year 3, they need to reevaluate, see what's been doing well, and see what's doing not so well. The final stage of the competitive comparison and future potential of Baldwin is the perpetual map. This map displays where Baldwin currently sits in this industry after the 8 years. This is an average of their prices of all the products each company has and their reliability towards their customers. Currently, Baldwin sits down the bottom. We hope after the 3-year plan, they would move more towards the middle with a different range of prices and different reliability of their products, being a little bit more attractive to customers, therefore moving their position from the worst to one of the best in their industry.
Thank you, Haley. Although early proved challenging for Baldwin, it really started to take shape from 2023. This could include improving return on assets along with asset turnover. The previous strategy allowed Baldwin to have a product in each segment. Affordability was the goal with investments in automation, R&D, and lowering production and material costs. While the strategy seemed to show some inconsistency, some improvements were made in its financial position after they decided to mainly focus on the traditional and low-end segments during the shakeup. This really makes Baldwin more strategic and competitive in the market in a timely manner. While it's good to have broad market coverage investment, key markets could have provided a more positive return. As shown in the comparison with top market competitor, Baldwin can look at others' benchmark in a lot of areas. Having the lead products that are well positioned in the market, higher customer service scores, and targeted automation levels meant margins were good. Better quality management coupled with a steady TQM spending are also allowed for predictable and steady growth. Still, the company is in good position heading toward the future, with solid yearly profits becoming a regular occurrence, and their return on sales and return on asset figures are continuing to improve due to their conservative spending. Looking forward, Baldwin has many reasons to feel comfortable. Thank you again for your time this evening. We'd like to open up to the board for questions to help clarify any of the content covered in this presentation. Thank you.